Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix my handbrake. Yesterday I went for my annual vehicle testing, which is called MOT or PSV for a commercial vehicle here in the UK. I failed the test for one headlight which wasn't adjusted, and the second issue was the handbrake. The mechanic in the MOT center just pulled the handbrake really hard and snapped the cable. The cables were replaced last year. They were brand new. I installed new cables from the handbrake handle to the caliper, so everything was brand new discs, pads. So the whole braking system was completely refurbished on this van, including the front brakes as well. But unfortunately, it's either the cables that are poor quality, they must have corroded, or person at the MOT center just pulled the handle way too hard and it snapped. So I'm gonna have to find exactly which cable is damaged and replace it so I can rebook the PSV, and I'm just gonna show you how I'm gonna go about to do it. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope I help out somebody else in the same situation. I'm gonna try and find out exactly which cable has snapped, so I'm going to start with the rear right wheel first. Let's continue with the inspection of the cables. I removed first the rear right wheel, so I found no issues there. Put the wheel back, and on the left hand side I'm doing the same thing. So I'm checking the cable here. This is obviously where it attaches to the caliper. So you could also let me bring the camera closer so I can show you better. You can pull on the cable, which is right here, so make sure obviously it's not loose. There's no issues with this cable as well, so I don't think the problem is from the rear two cables. So all we're left to inspect the long cable, which is quite a nasty job. I'm gonna have to borrow a friend of mine's car lift. It's too awkward to do it on the ground. It could be done, it's not impossible, but I'd rather do it properly and inspect some other parts of the vehicle. So let's check the big long cable. Quick inspection of the middle cable shows absolutely no issues, so the last one left is the short handbrake cable. The van is up on the lift now, which makes it very easy to see where the damage is. Before we talk about the damaged part and the repair, I want to tell you how many cables there are on this vehicle, and I want to give you some tips which will save you some headache and help you choose the correct parts for your vehicle. There are 4 cables altogether on the handbrake of a Renault Trafic, Opel, Vauxhall Vivaro and Nissan Primastar. So the first one is the rear right cable to the caliper. The second one is the rear left cable to the caliper. Then you have a long middle cable. Pay attention, as it is different for the long wheelbase and the short wheelbase. And the fourth cable is on the handbrake lever. As you can see, the damage is obvious, and it is the short cable from the handbrake. I was expecting to see a snap cable, but the problem here is actually the cable housing and the plastic clips. This is a 1-year-old cable, as I replaced it last year, but it must be poorly manufactured, or the guy at the MOT center just pulled it way too hard. In order to loosen and release the handbrake cables, you would need to loosen the tensioning bolt at the back. I would recommend you clean up the rust and debris with a wire brush, and then put some WD-40 before you release the nuts. After releasing the tensioning bolt, go to the van cabin and pull the handbrake cable up in order to release it from the handbrake lever. Then go under the vehicle and pull it down. In your case, you may not have tape on the clip holding the 2 cables. I put this myself last year in order to retain both cables in place and help me with the installation. Use a screwdriver or a chisel in order to punch it out. please make sure you check the clip that joins the short cable to the long middle cable, as there was actually a recall by the manufacturer, so this clip can break if badly corroded and the handbrake will release, which can cause serious accidents. So please make sure you check that. In order to remove the cable from the holder, break the clips and pull it out. Here you can see the difference between the new and the old cable. Time to start putting things together. The first thing to do is to insert the cable through the floor and clip in place temporarily. I apologize about the poor camera angles. My camera stand wasn't tall enough to film it correctly, but anyway, what I'm doing there is I'm inserting the two cables in the clip, and if you find it easier, do what I did the last time, just tape it up so it will hold the cables in place. Use a pair of pliers or whatever you have on hand in order to insert the two cables in the holding clip. Don't be afraid if they don't fit in the whole way at this point, just tape the clip up, and eventually when the cables are tight, as soon as you pull the handbrake lever, the cables will lock in place. The next step is to find a decent set of pliers that you can use for pulling. So pull hard and place the cable head into the slot. Lift up and down a few times to make sure it is properly seated before tightening the tensioning bolt. The final step of this repair is to adjust the tightening bolt and create optimal tension on the handbrake cable. Keep tightening and keep checking by pulling the middle cable and the handbrake lever. This is the point where you can decide if you want your handbrake to be more effective at the start of pulling or towards the end. A good advice for me would be to leave it somewhere in the middle. Also, don't forget to fit the rubber grommet correctly to stop any nasty stuff coming into the cabin of your van. In the end, when you remove the vehicle from the lift, you can take the van for a test drive and test the handbrake while moving at very low speed and check that both wheels are braking correctly. The next day after I failed the test, I fixed the handbrake and I rebooked my retest. I'm proud to show you the result of my hard work, and I hope that this will be the last time I will be working on the handbrake. This is my van ready for another year of service. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you want to learn more.